Hey guys, I just wanted to do a video. There's been something on my mind the last few days, and I just kind of wanted to kind of put it out there to see what people thought about it. Again, if anything I say in the next 5, 10, 15 minutes in this video triggers anybody, my advice would be to either contact your local GP, the Samaritans, or Pieta House. I might leave the numbers underneath this post. But I took a week off Instagram or social media last week, and I was planning on taking a few weeks off. And then the sudden death of that famous person, Caroline Flack. I haven't got a clue who she is. I've never seen Love Island. I haven't watched TV in over 3 years. So I can't really discuss it, and I don't really want to discuss it. It's probably a sensitive subject for a lot of people out there, and I'm not going to discuss Love Island either. This isn't a video about Love Island. But when I read about it, somebody actually sent it to me. Actually, multiple people sent it to me because I know I don't really like. I've talked about Love Island before in the past and all that kind of stuff and the effects that it might cause people. But so I read the article and I kind of read a little bit about it. But what triggered for me when I was thinking about it over the weekend was like adult bullying. We all know there's bullying as kids. We all know in school there's bullying. Like it's obvious. People talk about it. It's discussed a lot. But what we don't really discuss too often or whatever like that is bullying in as like adults. And this is really very, very, very common. It's very common in most workplaces, I think. Like for bullying not to happen in a workplace, you're talking about a workplace where everybody is comfortable with themselves. Everybody's happy in themselves. Everybody's done work on themselves. There's no insecurities. There's like there's not low self-esteem. There's high in confidence and all that kind of stuff, because generally where bullying comes from is a lack of self-esteem, a lack of confidence in oneself, no awareness, and a bit of narcissism as well, where somebody just, this is my opinion, I'm right, I feel like shit, so everyone needs to feel like shit or whatever like that. So to feel like as humans or whatever like that, to drag other people down is a comforting thing for them, because that's how they actually feel inside. But one thing I don't really think is discussed is especially bullying for males. Like a lot of men can't come home, or they can't tell their partners, or maybe they feel like they can't tell their partners that they're being bullied in work, or there's a group of guys that make them feel like shit, try manipulate them, call them names, any of this kind of stuff. And for one, I worked in a building site for 10 years, so I know what it's like to be an apprentice. I know what it's like to have guys, shouting and roaring and abusing you, telling you're all sorts of whatever like that, getting you to do the shitty jobs, and and then calling it, this is an apprenticeship. Everybody has to go through this, so I had that for many years, kind of growing up or whatever. So I understand what that kind of feels like. But not once did I ever go back to my friends and say, hey, look, I think I'm being bullied in work. But looking back on it now, I said, Jesus Christ, like I actually can't believe I put up with half of that stuff. And even now, as even a more grown adult in my 30s and stuff like that, I have been in workplaces where I have been bullied and manipulated, or people have tried to bully me, go in their little groups and like chat and then laugh and then like slag and all that kind of stuff, and leave the room when you walk into it, and kind of like stuff that's really like, it makes you kind of question yourself, and makes you kind of question, well, hang on here, what did I do? And like, did I put something online, or are they not happy with something? Or you start going back to maybe thinking of yourself, like, when's the last time I had a conversation with them? Did I bring something up that might have offended them, and all this kind of stuff, sometimes that happens with authority, and it just, I think it can happen with jealousy, envy, or maybe they just don't like you, which is all. Which, if they don't like you, well, that's fine. That's absolutely no problem at all. But again, if somebody doesn't like you, it's best is probably voiced and said in a nice way, than kind of like to be going behind somebody's back and to be trying to manipulate them and bully them and make them feel even worse, with them kind of guessing themselves. But where I was going with this is, I think for a lot of men out there, it's not really discussed, and we feel like it's taken away our masculinity somehow, that we fear that we're going to be judged by either other men or by our partners, or look weak, or look whatever, that were too afraid to actually say, look, I'm having a hard time in work, these guys in work are doing X, Y, and Z, or, you know, look, I'm not saying that women don't go through this either, and they do, and I've heard about it in workplaces and stuff. You know, there's a lot of bullying kind of going on out there, and it's easy for me to turn around and say, oh, like, it's insecurities on their behalf, and it's their self-esteem, and it's their confidence, and all that kind of stuff, but that doesn't really help you, and that's not really going to help the bullies. And the thing about bullies is, look, me being a counsellor and stuff like that, and being around counsellors the last 3 years, the consensus is one of the hardest clients to ever work with coming into a therapy room is a narcissist. Because a narcissist is always going to think they're right. They don't think they don't think they need to have to change. To say whatever they say, whatever like that is right, and it's the gospel and all that kind of stuff, and it's my way or the highway or any of this kind of stuff. Not open to any ideas, not open to any suggestions or any of that kind of stuff. So how do you actually work with somebody like that? But it's the same in a workplace. It's like, how do you, like most bullies and stuff like that, like an attribute that they have, a part of their character or whatever like that, is a little bit of narcissism. And it can be, not in all, but it can be a little bit of narcissism, as in like I'm going to do this because this makes me feel better, and absolutely no empathy towards that other person, how I might be making them feel. So again, as if counselors can't even help people, like, well, they probably can, but it's very hard to help a narcissist. How are you going to, you know, stand up or help a narcissist or a bully or any of this kind of stuff or whatever like that? And I'd never recommend to stand, like, well, there is times and places and stuff like that to stand up to bullies and whatever like that, or to voice your opinion, and that's fair enough. But my suggestion has probably changed over the years. For me, how I used to stand up to the years ago and stuff like that was act out, anger, punching, kicking, anything to just really stop it, nip it in the bud straight away. But again, it isn't the best way to go about it, because you can't do that to everybody you encounter in your whole life. You can't just punch and kick everybody who says something bad towards you or who tries to bully and manipulate you. But what do you do? So for me, what helped me over the years, and what helped me, because at the start, like, don't get me wrong, when I'm in workplaces and when I was in certain places, whatever like that, seeing grown men do this, and then even like go on social media and put a post that you know are about you and that are, you know, like that are definitely kind of influenced by their feelings towards you. And you're kind of like, are you for fucking, like, are you for real? This is what you're doing. You're a grown man, you're an adult and stuff like that. And you're using social media to slag something about me, or slag something about the gym, or slag something about whatever, instead of just actually coming up and having a conversation. This is what we have to do. We have to, like, you know, go home and then get all anxious at home. Like, oh my God, is he going to post something today? And what a load of shit. But what changed and what helped me over the years, and it did suck at the start. Years ago, I used to take all of this to heart. Social media posts about me, you know, going to workplaces and stuff like that, where, you know, you just know that the people in there mightn't like you and all that kind of stuff or whatever like that. And they're like, you know, laughing and giggling and all that kind of stuff or whatever like that, and then kind of like saying harsh things or doing very personal things, like, you know what I mean, you know, trying to chase after girlfriends of mine or something like that, you know, like sneaking into their DMs and any of this kind of stuff. Just really fucking horrible, nasty shit or whatever like that, and stuff I did not want to be around, and thankfully I'm not anymore. But the thing about it is, what helped me through all of this, and this is, it's a long-winded answer, I'm like 8 minutes in or whatever like that, but what helped me is, like, I cannot change anybody extra. I cannot change anybody around me. I can't change, if I had a girlfriend, I can't change that. I can't change my parents. I can't change my family. I can't change anybody. Like, it's impossible. Like, it took me so long to help myself, to change myself internally. Like, how fucking long would it take me to start changing everybody around me to fit how I see the world and how I want to be in the world, or I want to be seen in the world, or any of this kind of stuff? It is impossible. Absolutely impossible. And when I realized this, and I said, look, I can't change other people's opinions of me, but I can change my opinion of myself, and that will make me react to things a lot better and give myself a lot more self-compassion and empathy. So when I do bump into people in the future that do say nasty things to me, or to say nasty things, or to try bully, manipulate me or whatever like this is going for all adults out here, male or female. It's enough for me to stand back and go, right, is this really about me, or are they trying to project how they feel onto me. Now, don't get me wrong, I am in no way perfect. Like there's like I'm fucked up like everybody else or whatever like that, you know what I mean? But one thing I think I don't have is I don't have that kind of wanting to manipulate or bully or say nasty shit or any of that kind of stuff towards other kind of people. So when I kind of look at the scenario and kind of say, well, why are they acting like that towards me? And I go through a little checklist and kind of go, have I been nice to them? Have I been like empathetic towards them? Have I done nice things to them? Yes, 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 or whatever like that. I turn around and say, right, well, look, that might be their shit or whatever like that. And I step back and kind of go, well, that's nothing got to do with me. And I set proper professional boundaries with people, and that's one thing that nearly saved my life or whatever like that, is to set boundaries and be able to like compartmentalize or whatever like that, what they're like saying to me, whatever like that, being able to kind of say, right, that's their opinion, that's fair enough, but do I think that about myself? Is that true what they're saying? Do I feel that about myself? And if the answer is right, and I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, I did like act like a dickhead there the other day. Okay, right, how can I change that? I did act a little bit aggressive there the other day. Right, I need to work on that. And I'll work with that. But what everybody says to me isn't the gospel. What everybody says to me and calls me and all that kind of stuff, Jesus Christ, I would have killed myself and took my own life 10 times over throughout my whole life or whatever like that, if I took everything, especially owning the gym, the 8 years I owned the gym, Christ, the amount of fucking rumours and shit that kind of went around or whatever like that. And I had to wake up most weeks and kind of go, what? That was said, like, I was sitting at home Saturday and Sunday with my 2 dogs, and that's what you think I was, here, you know what I mean? But now, what helped me was realising that, you know, not to believe everything that I hear and all that kind of stuff, to maybe do some work on myself, some self-reflection, and kind of say, is all this kind of what's being said real? Do I feel it about myself? Do I need to look at these things? And then half the time I'm like, no, well, I feel that I'm doing the work. I understand myself enough to know that isn't right. What they've done and said about me isn't right. What they're doing to me isn't right or whatever like that. But then do I feed into that? And then my mental health suffers then, because I feel like I have to go out of my way to be their friend and to be happy and to make sure they're okay all the time. And, I just want them to like me. And what a fucking existence that would be. I said it in my podcast only a few weeks ago on Coffee Pods and Wads. We are all going to die. Gary Vee said it years ago, and that stuck in my head, is we're all going to die. Here's an example for you. Somebody said to me there the other day about Instagram. Like about deleting people on Instagram or about adding people on Instagram and stuff like that. Since I went Niall Manelli on my Performance and Fitness Academy page, I changed it to Niall Manelli. In the guts of maybe 30, 40 people have left my Instagram. I only noticed because I screenshot my stories and say new post, whatever. And I'm like, oh, the numbers have changed or whatever like that. Now, here's an example. Now, what could I do, right? I could turn around and say, like, I've got around 1,500 followers. 30, 40 people have left in the last couple of weeks, whatever like that. Now, do I ruin my whole day and whole week by going through every single person and finding them 30, 40 people and then maybe messaging them and go, hey, what's going on? You deleted me. Like, what's happening or whatever? Like, or do I just turn around and say, to me, that's irrational. For me to do a rational thought process will be, hang on, the 30, 40 people, they must have a reason. I must be affecting their mental health. They just don't want to follow me anymore because they're gym or whatever it may be. And I leave it and move on. But my day now consists of taking care of me, my emotions and feelings, instead of leaving everything external, like, why doesn't that person like me anymore? Who are them 30, 40 people? How dare they fucking, delete me off Instagram and any of that kind of stuff, whatever. I'm going looking for them and then I'm going to like challenge them. Why? Like, does it upset me? Me personally, no. I know it upsets a lot of fucking people out there, but it does not upset me anymore. Years ago, would it upset me? Yes. When I was a lot more insecure, I had low self-esteem and low confidence in myself, yes, it definitely would have affected that, probably tremendously. But now, doing all the work on myself, I'm like, I need to live my own life. If people don't want to follow me and if people don't like what I put out on Instagram, or they mightn't like, who I am as a person and stuff like that, that's their own opinion. I'm not here in this life or whatever like that to make 10 people happy, 20 or 100 people happy, or 1,000 people happy. I'm here to make myself happy. You know what I mean? And gradually, I think people will end up like entering my life or whatever like that and staying for a long period of time or whatever like that if they get on with me and have the same, same personality characteristics of me or whatever, So yeah, look, at the end of the day, as I said, all this kind of stuff was was in my mind, and I needed to get it off my chest. Adult bullying is a serious thing, male and female. It's an absolute serious thing. It goes on a daily basis in Ireland, in every country in the world. And I said, you cannot stop bullying. You cannot stop adult bullying. Yes, you can leave the workplace. Yes, you can get them to leave the workplace. Yes, you can find a different group to hang around with. These are all ways of getting rid of it. But if you can't leave your job, if you can't get rid of people, if you can't do this, that, and the other, number one, my advice is to set up boundaries, healthy boundaries. Number two, then, is you are never, ever, 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 ever going to be able to change other people's opinion around you. But you can change how you react to what they're saying to you, or how their emotions and feelings are projecting onto you. That's one thing you can control. And number three is, if you are being bullied, if you have shit in work, or people are onto you and stuff like that, share it. Don't be afraid to go home to your partner. Don't be afraid to talk to your kids about it. Don't be afraid to talk to GP, Samaritans, Pieta House, whoever it is. Don't be afraid to go to a counsellor. This is a serious thing. There's people out there now at the moment, adults that are being bullied, male and female, and instead of actually talking to people and opening up, what they're doing is they're taking their own life. Now, this is a serious, serious topic, and it is something serious that is happening all around the world, but especially Ireland, through social media, through workplaces alone, or whatever. So my advice, guys, to anyone out there who is being bullied, I'm sorry that it is happening. I have a lot of compassion and empathy towards you. It's not right. It's not acceptable, but you cannot control every single day. You cannot have your anxiety, your headspace, and your mental well-being or whatever like that in somebody else's hands. So you cannot control how somebody else was brought up. You cannot control how somebody else feels. Like they might have had different experiences growing up, different values than you, and now it's their way of expressing their maybe anger, frustration, envy, jealousy, whatever it is, onto you, whatever. You can't stop that. No matter if you maybe confront them and say, how dare you, blah, 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 until they actually do work on themselves and actually look at this and notice it themselves and are aware of this themselves, which generally for bullies never happens because a lot of them are narcissistic or whatever like that, and they don't think what they're doing is wrong, and they don't see what they're doing is wrong because they don't want to look at themselves, because looking at themselves is hard, and it is very fucking hard, especially when you know you've got issues, okay, and you don't want to face them. So again, hopefully them little few tips are going to help in some way. It's about 17 minutes long. I don't know if anybody's even going to listen to it this long. What motivated me was what happened at the weekend or whatever like that. And now I'm sitting outside college, about to go into college, and it's my last day of third year in college or whatever like that. Hopefully this helped in some way. This isn't any way of kind of like getting digs or any of that kind of stuff or whatever like that. This is reality. This is what goes on a daily basis and stuff like that. Take care of yourself, or you will not be able to take care of anybody else. Take care of your own mental and physical well-being, and don't leave it in the hands of other people. Have a great day, guys, and I'll chat to you later on. Bye-bye.